the way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Welcome back to Way I Got It Figured, and this is our top 10 Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise figure list. So last month I did the top 10 Siege video, and you know, I got a few views, so that was good. I said that I would continue on through the War for Cybertron trilogy. Next up, of course, is Earthrise, which does have some pretty great figures in it. We've got 10, plus we've got our honorable mentions, as always. And this one was a little bit easier to come up with favorites for. Not to say that the figures are any less quality than War for Cybertron Siege, but I think just the makeup of what was in that particular subline just sort of made it a little bit easier, if you can understand that. So we're gonna go through it. I'm gonna try and be as quick as I can, so you can get back to your life. But we're gonna go from the beginning to the end, starting with honorable mentions. So my honorable mentions for Earthrise are here. And we've got Sunstreaker, Optimus Prime, and filling in for his full body, because I just didn't feel like lugging him up out of my basement, Lord Zarak for Scorponok. Sunstreaker, pretty good figure. He has the paint, the infamous paint not matching, because he's got the blue translucent windows, but he's a pretty decent figure. And of course I got some third-party stuff on him, but just to make him a little bit better. But the figure itself is pretty decent. And they did reuse the mold to make Spin Out and Corden, and I do have that set as well. And so those figures are just as good, but you know, I wanted Sunstreaker to be the actual exemplar of that mold. Next up, of course, we've got Leader Class Optimus Prime. This figure is retooled from the Siege Voyager class Optimus Prime, even though there's not, you know, there's very little. I mean, it is technically a retool, but the legs are really the only shared parts. Everything else is different. And they wanted this to be their, you know, sort of Optimus Prime going for the next couple of years from that point. And so they remolded this Optimus Prime several times. They made a, you know, they made a dead version. They did a Netflix version. There's a couple other ones, but generally this is their Leader Class / Voyager Optimus Prime. He of course comes with the trailer, which, you know, is not really sufficient. But word is we might be getting an Optimus Prime to replace this one, perhaps in 2024. I'm not really concrete on that yet. I don't think anyone is, but next year is the 40th anniversary. We already know we're getting the Missing Link figures that are basically reproductions of the original toys, but with modern articulation. And I'm gonna, of course, be all over that, so look out for that. You know, when they come out, you'll certainly be seeing them on the channel. And then last but not least, we've got Lord Zarak, the headmaster for Scorponok. And of course, I like the Lord Zarak figure in and of itself. One of my bucket list goals is to have Ultra Marcus voice Lord Zarak for me in a stop motion short picture. So there you go. That's your honorable mentions. Let's get started with the top 10 list. I'm going to start number 10 off with Runabout and Runamuck. The Battle Chargers. So when I was a kid, I had the Battle Chargers, and you know, of course, they were hilariously simplistic. But you know, they did a great job with these. And Runabout here was a Target exclusive. So, you know, that's why I'm mentioning that there's exclusives on the list. Anyway, these guys were always, you know, kind of cool. Decepticon Shock Troopers, originally released in 1986. Even though, of course, you know, they had like contemporary Earth modes. And I like them both equally. I couldn't really decide between the two. Runabout does come with another gun that's painted red like this one. Is the same gun that Runamuck comes with, but Runamuck only comes with one, and they gave him an additional gun. So I gave them their weapons that are most like the toy weapon that they came with back in the day. So there you go. Runamuck and Runabout are number 10. At number 9, we're going to go with Trailbreaker. Trailbreaker is one of the late wave figures, one of the last waves to show up. And so was Sunstreaker. Trailbreaker was only slightly harder, slightly easier to get than Sunstreaker. You know, but at that time, you know, I was hunting all the time for action figures, so I did get him. He's really good. I like him. He looks like Trailbreaker, even though he still has somewhat of a Hoist vibe. And Hoist is cool too. I don't want to completely, you know, diss Hoist. But, you know, as an example, as the exemplar of the mold, I went with Trailbreaker. So there you go. That's number 9. At number 8, we're going to bring in another exclusive. This time we're looking at Thrust. So Thrust is the 3rd Conehead Seeker. Dirge and Ramjet were released prior to him in an Amazon 2-pack. Now Dirge has been re-released for Legacy to give people who didn't get, you know, a shot at him another chance. And I have seen them starting to show up in regular stores. But Thrust is once again the exemplar of the mold. I didn't want to go with Ramjet, and I didn't want to go with Dirge because, again, Dirge has been re-released and Ramjet has been released as different characters, or G2 Ramjet, several times. Thrust is the only one who only got one release, at least prior to Nacelle being released anyway. So there you go. Thrust is number 8. At number 7, we're going to bring in the Netflix exclusive Bumblebee. So this figure was in the Walmart exclusive. As usual, Walmart, gets some of the most popular characters or whatever they get thrown in as an exclusive for Walmart. And I didn't find him all that hard to get, but I do know several people who never got one. And that, that kind of sucks, but they were out there. And Bumblebee's going to be number 7. Of course, he shares his mold with Cliff Jumper. And Cliff Jumper's nice and everything. And then, of course, he got the buzzworthy update to make him look a little bit more like the cartoon. But, he's a studio series at that point. And so, of the two, whether it be regular Earthrise, Cliff Jumper, or Bumblebee, and I gotta go with Bumblebee. First of all, he turns into an actual Type 1 beetle. So, he's not turning into some vagary like Cliff Jumper. And it's Bumblebee, It's Bumblebee. So he's number 7. At number 6, we're going to bring in the other Headmaster Horicon, Snapdragon, who continued the, he's the other half of the Headmaster Horicons. Eight-Face was in Siege, and so Snapdragon got released in Earthrise. And I like him just as much as I like Eight-Face, but I do think his plastic is a little bit better. So honestly, if I had to say, I probably would give Snapdragon a little bit of an edge on Eight-Face just because of the plastic. But they're both pretty cool figures. Definitely two of my favorites from their respective lines. At number 5, I'm gonna go with one of my favorite characters of all time, Prowl, who was part of the Autobot Alliance 2-pack with Ironhide. He is, as a figure, he's pretty decent. I give him maybe a B- as a figure. But my biggest complaint was that they didn't do a Prowl head for him. Now, granted, so basically what the pattern was in Siege, Prowl's head was the head, along with Barricade or Smokescreen got the Barricade head. And then in Earthrise, they did a Blue Streak head and a Smokescreen head. And Barricade got released with that too. So Prowl got the Siege head, Blue Streak got the Earthrise head. So the stock head on Prowl is an Earthrise Blue Streak head, and it just bothers me, to no end. So I found an extra Prowl and just, removed the head and swapped it with this one. This is going to definitely be one of the last videos you'll see this Prowl in this form. Because I plan to mod him between the Buzzworthy Bumblebee number 20 Prowl, this one, and the Siege head that he's wearing right now, into a more on-model version of Prowl. So stay tuned for that. I guess this Prowl's probably going to show up in one more video before I change him. So he's number 5. At number 4, we're going to bring in a non-exclusive. the Quintesson Judge. Now this figure was very hard to get. The only one I was able to find was this one. And it's still the only one that I own. Well, that's not 100% true. I do own the Quintesson Pit of Judgment, which came with a differently colored one of these. There was no way I was ever going to get 5 of them at $30 a piece. That's like $150. It wasn't going to happen. But it also wasn't going to happen because you just can't find them. You couldn't find them. I got the Earthrise Megatron, and I only saw that maybe twice. And, you know, again, this was a time, you know, when I was hunting. And like I said, Sunstreaker, the only Sunstreaker I ever really found was the one that I got. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I didn't even find Sunstreaker in the toy. I had to get them on Big Bad Toy Store. So yeah, I never found Sunstreaker in store. The Quintesson, I did find one and I got it, but I was never able to find another one. So it's still one of those things that I'm looking for. I figured I'd just have 2 of these and one of the Pit of Judgment. And of course, you know, it does transform into some weird thing because it's a Transformers toy, but of course nobody's doing that. At least I'm not, you know. But you got your 5 faces of darkness, as it were. And it is cool to have them. They even did the Alicon and to go with them. And the Sharkticons got released in Studio Series 86. So definitely can set up a Quintesson display should you wish to do that. So the Quintesson Judge is number 4. At number 3, it's your boy Soundwave. So Soundwave, like Bumblebee, was a Netflix, Walmart exclusive. And he's retooled from the Siege Soundwave, which I didn't even include at all in the Siege video, which seems kind of like perhaps kind of an oversight, because I do love that figure too, because I love Soundwave. But Siege just had so many figures, it was just too hard to, you know, I think I said in that video, I'd need to almost get out the entire Siege collection, you know, as honorable mentions. So, but Soundwave does make the list, and I'm very happy with them. Always been happy with them. One thing that you have to look out for is that under the wrong conditions, he will yellow. And mine has a very faint bit of yellowing on his legs. It might not even show up for the camera, but it's very faint. But other than that, he's great. There's nothing I can say about him that hasn't been said in the past. Really good figure. Soundwave. It's number 4. I mean 3, excuse me. Number 3. I'm sorry, I'm tired. At number 2, he's going to be really upset about his number. We've got Commander Class Skylynx. Love this figure. I think he's awesome. He's better than any Skylynx we've ever gotten, and I don't know if we're ever going to get one better than this one. But you know, he's a Commander class, and I really think Hasbro has really knocked it out of the park with all of their current offerings for Commander class, and he's no exception. So I almost made him number 1, but there's one figure that I do like better, and it's really very subjective. It could be Skylinks, it could be him. But I don't want the commander classes to win every single #1 spot. So we'll make Skylinks #2. But he is awesome. And at #1, which you probably would have seen when I lifted the camera to put him in here, we're gonna bring in my favorite #1 figure from Earthrise, leader class double dealer. So back in the good old '88, my best friend D'Angelo Lewis had gotten a double dealer, and you know, we played with him, had our battles and wars or whatever. And I think Hasbro did a great job of bringing out everything from that figure, but making him posable. The other double dealer, like a lot of Transformers back in those days, G1, were kind of bricks. But this double dealer has all the poses. And we probably should make him a little more dynamic here, just to show his posability. His gun is heavy, so you know, that's understandable. And he's, you know, he looks good, man. I just like this figure. He's just a tad bit taller than Prime. He's kind of beefy. You do lose the Power Master gimmick, but, you know, I don't know if anybody really cared about that. And they actually made Knock and Scar, his Power Masters, as cassettes, and I did get those as well. So, you know, you really kind of have a complete set for double dealer. So yeah, that's my list of top 10 Earthrise figures. Top of the list is good old double dealer. Yes, and I do have one of his cassettes installed, the Autobot one. Oh yeah, they even did this to where you can have them have either allegiance, and that was a really nice touch, because the old toy obviously couldn't do that. And he's just a good figure, man. I like him. I mean, you know, he may not be your favorite, but he's definitely mine from this particular portion of the trilogy. So there you have it, your top 10 Earthrise Transformers list. All right, guys, thank you for watching the videos. You know, I'm trying to keep them coming for you. This is definitely a big outlet for me, for my hobby, and you know, it's fun. And what point is there of having action figures if you're not going to have any fun with them? So stay tuned, of course, as I promised. There will be a top 10 Kingdom list sometime in September. And I'll probably rest a little bit on the top 10 lists, and until maybe the end of the year or something. I don't know. But at least you know, what I did promise was the WFC Cybertron Trilogy top 10 lists. And so those are definitely going to happen. Any further lists remain to be seen. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. And once again, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. Got plenty more Transformers content coming. The Studio Series 86 Prowl and Ironhide set still yet to be reviewed, and that's coming as well. So yeah. Till next time, everybody please stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.